Hi Levi. So this is Gmail and this is Google Drive or Google Docs, I think. And this is your later from the last night. So this is nice. You can articulate your ideas. You can be constructive. The thing is, your main weakness, and you're already aware of that, is the spelling. So I must say that I'm very honored to be invited to welcome the new students and for being the person giving a speech to speak. I know you can be confused about the speech about my overseas study experience. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that I will not be able to attend the party as I have a very important examination on the same day. Um, you can also say exam or a test. As you might know, I am at my in my final year of medical school. I'm supposed to take the United States medical licensing examination, which will take 2 days starting from the 30th of this month. However, I will be more than happy to attend the party if you decide to schedule it for another day. Okay, I'll be able anytime onward after the 2nd of August of this year, which is the day after the USMLE exam finishes. I thank you for your consideration. Okay, and I hope to hear from you very soon. So I think what you've seen in different letters is I look forward to hearing from you. I had a huge debate with one student, one Brazilian student. He couldn't understand why we had the ing form here. And I was like, well, just keep it as an expression. You're gonna always have an ing. Okay, so this is done. Just make sure you know. I know it's not always easy to change your spelling, in 2 days, within 2 days. So I would say, try your best to really have extra time to really read yourself again, but you're aware of it. I'm pretty sure you can do a better job than that. Okay, so coming back to Skype, I always like to keep it. This is a French a French computer actually, because last year I went to France to Toulouse for 7 months to see if I could transfer my company. And my MacBook Pro died, it was unexpected. And so I had to buy a French MacBook Pro. So this is a French computer. And everything is set in English, but except for Skype for some reason. It normally should be in English. So as you see, it's both in English and French. Anyway, so we have the list of verb. I think it's here. Okay, so verbs followed with a bunch of verbs and with the ing form. So again, it's not easy to remember the full list, but you can try to read it on a regular basis. Admit, he admitted cheating. Advice, the doctor generally advised drinking low-fat milk. Allow, Ireland doesn't allow smoking in bars, etc., etc. So avoid, appreciate, try to remember the most useful verbs. I would say maybe appreciate, avoid, begin, cease, complete, continue, keep going, Also keep, I don't mind helping you. This is very common. You can see if you have like 10 verbs you can remember, it's better than nothing. Okay, so now that's why I write everything down on Skype, because otherwise I'm gonna forget some stuff. So okay, I'm gonna just use this. I'm using Chrome because Safari is very slower than Chrome. I think it's just because of the computer, but anyway. So we started using a website where you have a lot of samples, a lot of advice, tips, and so forth. I recommend to do at least one written test, a complete one. We went through a lot of exercises, okay, and it's not doing anything. So at least just to get used to the strategy, because you don't have time to be too fancy and too sophisticated. So go straight to the point with a good strategy. How can I write? How can I answer? How can I, how can I write my text, etc. How can I do a good job? Well, you follow the plan. If they ask you questions, answer the questions with lots of examples. I mean, lots, concrete examples. Okay, and you can go above 150 words if it's asked, or 250. Um, it's just not recommended to be below 150 or 220 or 250. Sorry. So don't look at every word, skim it, scan it, okay, in order to be fast, because as I told you, you're on a budget, a time budget. So we have different questions here. True, false, not given. Not given is, well, we cannot even say, okay, so we're not talking about it, it's not given, okay, but it's very tricky because it's a very thin line between the false answer and the not given answer, okay. So let me open reading paper for this section. It's a brochure. Hi, this computer is driving me crazy. And yeah, it's stopped. So anyway, so we had a brochure like concerning shirts, underwear, socks, jackets, and so forth. And we had three different men. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this one. The lack of practice in French sometimes makes me lose my French. But anyway, so it's opening. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to do my best here. And so what you can do is, when you look at the brochure, is to be like, okay, I'm not gonna have time to read everything. What is the topic? Mail order brochure. We order things. What? Clothes. Okay, for men, women, children. And okay, under 10 bucks, 25, 50 bucks. You have a voucher, different special gifts, and the shipping. Okay, and we have the second thing, but don't waste your time here. So we come back to the question, and now we can just try to answer the questions. So women's cotton socks cost less than men's. We saw that it's not given because we don't have the information. Okay, so I'm not gonna give you all the answers, but I want to show you that the thing is, if you cannot find the information, okay, so women, the belts, cotton shirts, we're talking about what? Cotton socks, colored t-shirts, blue jeans, silk shirts, jacket. We don't have anything about the cotton socks for women, okay? So it's not given. As simple as that. Men's silk shirts are available in more than 5 colors. Uh, men, designer colors, false, because they're all talking about the colors, but they're not giving you, they're not telling you, well, it comes in different sizes, and it's just only for men, men's size, that's it. If they're not using the word colors, it means it's not given. Okay, so false. Children's 7 shirts come in a variety of colors. We saw it was the kids, variety of colors. Well, we saw the jacket has 4 pockets. They were talking about the pockets, but how many we don't know, so false. And if you buy clothes worth 80 bucks in August, I think it was true. The charge for special next day delivery in Australia it's $7.90. What they mean here, next day will be more like overnight, okay, because post offices are not open during the night. So, and it's true, there is this option available, but it's $17.95. All clothing is guaranteed to arrive within 2 months. It was tricky here. because it's guaranteed. We cannot guarantee, so it's false. Okay, so and after we have something about, this is very common, this kind of exercise, very common, is to try to give a title for each paragraph. Okay, and so we have a text. Again, what are we talking about? Book releases, a new book releases, and different topics. Okay, so I can not even have to read right now. I'm gonna just check. Okay, so I need to match these titles with these. Okay, so book A, let's say here. Okay, so we need to summarize Aboriginal people, stunning reproductions of paintings, beautiful photography, and informative text. So people living in a very dry part of Australia, or the driest parts of Australia, okay, with art. Okay. And so we know this one was already given for something else. And the guide to the art of Australian desert. Okay. And so basically what you have is to try to see if you have one or two keywords that can help you to find the right title. Okay. Like for instance, we had, the nesting, migration patterns. So we're talking about the birds. Okay, so let's see if we can find a bird somewhere. And field guide to native birds of Australia, making sure it's the most accurate title for it. And book size maps, la la la. Australian classic book suitable for both beginners and expert. It's a guide, beginners and expert, to native birds of Australia, and so forth. Okay, so very, very, how can I say, in Spanish, in American, in French. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, so coming back to the different links, when I try to not have a 45-minute recording. Another thing is, I'm gonna copy the link because I don't want to open Safari. It's going faster now. So the next task is, I was showing you different layers, but you have a way to answer. So if it's a formal later, you need to stay formal, and and so forth. I thought it will just be a bit different now. It's coming, I hope. Anyways, so no, it's still the same link because we had a problem to open the right link. Okay, maybe this one. Sorry about that. It was still the same. And maybe I'm gonna have the right one now. There we go. Reading paper for this section. We have 20 minutes answering questions from 1 to 14. Really don't have any time. So when you look at the reading paper, sorry, again, you need to skim it. What is going on here? We have different text. Okay, what was I saying? Okay, I don't care. Okay, we have the reviews, books, good reading magazine. Okay, and so something about horoscope, whatever, biography, maybe gardening. Okay, let's go back. No, this. Just get rid of this page. So again, we need to match, the question 1 to 5 to the letters, to the different paragraphs. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8. And which book is detective fiction? So it was very easy. You didn't make any mistakes here. I think it was Never Count on the Dead. Never Count Out the Dead. Detective story. Which book? So we saw it's G. Which book handles commercial matters, business? The British are annoying. So I think it was B. and teaches about past history, civilization, F. So we can be really fast, but it can also be very risky because we can answer fast and, be completely, completely wrong, and you're losing points as well. So we're not just like gambling here, okay? Because I'm trying to give you the right strategy to save time. Written is written by a sporting personality. It was a Pat Cash, C. And which book attempts to predict future discoveries in the field of medicine? It was the first one, and they were talking about of healing, transplant, the first human organ transplant. So we are just confirming here. So you see, it's done. So now, reading passage 1, we have it, and die a law is, well, it's a legal telephone service. Die-L will, again, here it's not possible to, you're going to have to skim it probably 2 or 3 times, and to make sure you have the right and correct answers. Okay, so okay, now I'm talking about cons, legal information on con, you can call this service, la la la, and provide information, non legal advice about the law. That's just like, as I said, a legal telephone service. But it's confusing because they can give legal advice, but no, actually no. Die-L will, no. Inform listeners about particular legal subjects, no. Suggest to clients which solicitor they should see, yep, this one, see. The Die-L is available to customers at any time, and legal reform service will recommend a legal consultant, nominate 3 solicitors. Yeah, this one B. You see, we need to get, we need to make sure we can, this is a tiny bit more complex because you're wasting more time to read, but it's still worth it. 6 to 10, 6 to 9, I think they meant 10 to 14, I made a mistake here. True, false, not given. The client can be transferred to a solicitor at any time. The first consultation with the solicitor is always free. The client must write a letter of referral to the solicitor. No, it was a legal referral service was the one giving a letter that you are supposed to give to the solicitor. Solicitor will advise the clients of the expense involved in a legal matter. It was true. And so false, true. The client should take the first solicitor offered. No. First consultation with the solicitor is free. Well, it's always free. Yeah, the first 30 minutes. So it's confusing here. We can say yes, no. Client must write no. We answer that, and the client can be transferred to a solicitor at any time. We could potentially say yes, but no, because of the verb to be transferred. No, they're gonna give 3 names, and it's up to you, to contact them, to contact the solicitors. Okay. And as you know, you can check the answers as well. Okay, so what do I say here? False, true, false, true, and should take the first solicitor offered. Well, it's false, not given. Not given. Why? Because they're not even talking about the first solicitors. They're just telling you, well, we give you 3 names, up to you to contact which one you want. Okay. So it's not given because we're not talking about that. Okay, there is nothing related to this idea. Okay, so anyway, I can write the answers. I don't like that. And let me see here. So it's done for that. It shouldn't take too much time. And I don't know what's everything messed up on my computer. So this one, the writing part, well, 60 minutes, 20 minutes for the first task and 40 minutes on the second task. Be careful because obviously the second task is gonna require a lot of time. You may not need 40 minutes, okay? It's just answering the ideal, to answer the questions, give examples, and try to follow a plan. If you're just like talking about one thing, you talk about something else, and you come back to the first thing you were talking about, forget about it. They're gonna find that you are not an advanced student. I mean, you can talk about different topics, but you're not able to organize your ideas properly. So concerning the general writing, it's easier than the academic writing. And so 1 hour to complete 2 tasks, 60 minutes. And it's always a later, so you need to answer the later. Try to see if you can be polite or formal, I mean, more or less informal if you have to complain or if you have to be very respectful, etc. Okay. And task 2 is an essay based on a given topic. So we know that. So, it's, okay, let me just get to okay. Marina has just started a new course at college. So this is not an example, a good example, because not only she doesn't write well, but at the same time, I think what is very interesting about this exercise is to make sure when you talk about a past event, you need to use a past tense, okay? And this is something I'm gonna try to show you quickly, very quickly, on using this. Maybe I'm gonna make a second video because I have a class in 20 minutes. And so basically, I have come to Brighton College, where I was a student for 10 years. I have already taken examinations in Singapore, and my best score was for computer. I got grade A. So I had a grade A or in computer, or my higher school was a grade A for computer, etc. My uncle still owns a supermarket. So I used to work there 4 nights a week, and I think this was a very good experience for me. So we need that in the past. Also had a part-time job in a shop, etc. So just simplify it. As long as you respect the past tenses, it's fine. The weekend, you can say it, but I don't like it personally because it's British. I prefer the American way. So on weekends, so that's going to be your weakness as well, is to use the American expressions and try to make sure they're not going to be assholes, when it comes down to correct your papers. And I usually played volleyball with friends. If the weather was bad, it's like we used to go to the theater because it was a regular thing, and which was very popular in Singapore. We can still say also which is very popular in Singapore, but we don't know if it's still popular because things change, which was very popular in Singapore. I'll keep the past. Because of my part-time job, I also did spend a lot of time studying at the weekend. I really don't like it. Did spend a lot of time studying at the weekend. I didn't go to many other places. My father took me to Thailand once. 3 weeks later, we had returned. So I went to Malaysia and took the whole family. This is a brief description of my background. So before I come back to the past, the simple past and the present past, there's something I need you to check online is the difference between, if I have it here, tenses, perfect tenses, simple present, simple past, 27. I don't know if it's going to be the same. So try to see if you can review your irregular verbs. Okay, simple past. Okay, indicates that an activity or situation began and ended at a particular time in the past. So it's an action in the past that ended in the past, not affecting the present. Okay, so if a sentence contains when and has a simple past in both clauses, the action in the rain began. She stood under a tree. She stood under a tree when the rain began. So it's here. So Rita stood under a tree when it began to rain. What are they saying here? So we need to use the simple past in the whole sentence. That's it. Well, it's not complex. When he heard or when she heard a strange noise, she got up to investigate. When I dropped off my cup, the coffee spilled on my lap. So, well, we know that when we use a simple past progressive. I was walking, I was doing, I was working. You were sleeping, etc., etc. So this is an ongoing action, and this is a good book because it gives you a lot of exercises. And nope. There we go. Perfect. Present perfect. That's the one I wanted to tell you. Present perfect. You may not need the other guys. Past perfect and etc. So it expresses the idea that something happened or never happened. Before now, unspecified time in the past. So with the past perfect, you may not have to specify for how long or when exactly. So it's unspecified time. That's the difference between the simple past and the present perfect. Okay, or present past, past present. And the exact time it happened is not important. If there is a mention of time, you can notice the never, never, once, twice, this kind of stuff. There is a list here: already, yet, still, just, etc. Okay. Can also express the repetition of an activity before now. Okay, so the exact time of each repetition is not important. So far, is frequently used with the present perfect. We have had, I have written my wife a letter every other day for the last 2 weeks. So it's H. I have flown on an airplane many times. Okay, so I did that on a regular basis. And since and for. Remember that, because since and for, we're going to use, essentially the present past, present perfect. Okay, I have been here. We have been here for 2 weeks. So we are expressing a period of time or since a particular time, but it's just a rule. When you have since or for, you're going to use this tense. Okay, no simple past. Basically, that's it, but there is also a part. My nose is still killing me. Hold on. No, this is a past perfect progressive, and actually can also affect the present. But so you don't need that. You don't need that right now. Okay. So 10 minutes before my class. On this one, I think I'm gonna send you a second video because it's not gonna work. Okay. So 20 minutes, and we have a letter. They tell you what you're supposed to do. Okay, write a letter. So you're looking for a part-time job at a football club. You need to write a letter to the manager at the football club. In your letter, the first paragraph, introduce yourself, separate the paragraphs, explain what experience and special skills you have, and tell him or her when you think you could start. So basically, we have minimum 3 different paragraphs, 150 words. You can go above that, it's fine. And the guy is gonna just add an additional sentence. It's not a paragraph, it's just politeness, but he has 3 different paragraphs. Okay, so, and hold on, trying to speed up here. And this is this is not. This is about the rubbish. And 40 minutes, they give you the topic. You need to talk about the topic with different words. You need to simplify, to summarize. Some people think it would be a good idea for schools to teach every young person how to be a good parent. Do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Describe the skills a person needs to be a good parent. Okay, So you're not gonna throw your opinion right away. You may wait for the conclusion, or also during your your essay, you can start showing what you believe in, okay? But we still need a conclusion, an introduction. We introduce the topic, and we start explaining with a lot of examples, okay? So keywords, when we introduce a new idea, it's nice to use different keywords, besides on one hand, the other hand, etc., etc. However, in conclusion, therefore, and a child is a mirror of the parents. I like the way he finished, but they give a score of 6. The answer was a clear focus and presents a very definite point of view about the general topic. However, the second question is not directly addressed and not identifiable. Parenting skills undescribed. So you're not supposed to go out of the way, but I would say, just to be cheap, focus really, really on what they say, give some examples, and don't go out of the way. Okay. The argument is quite easy to follow, so you need to be clear with your ideas, to develop your ideas very clearly, and that's it. A range of vocabulary is used with flexibility and a good level of control. Okay, there are examples. The writer uses a range of structures effectively and accurately, with examples of sophisticated phrasings. However, there are quite a lot of short, simple sentences too, and there are lapses and omissions in some structures, although these do not prevent the reader from understanding the message. The guy is an asshole. 6. He's an asshole. This is not the most perfect thing, but I think 7.5 would be better. So, as I said, answering just a topic, giving examples, separating the ideas, different paragraphs, and make sure you have a sophisticated vocabulary. That's your risk. So you're gonna take a risk because you can show that your spelling skills are not very good, so the guy can attack you. But also it depends. We have different characters, so that's the thing. I've seen everything. Some cool guys, some bad guys. So yeah, and especially in British, they tend to be very picky. So yeah, we're gonna continue that. Okay, well, I gave you one text, one homework. That was another one. Nowadays, we're producing more and more rubbish. What do you think this is happening? So you can explain in the introduction, like, we live in a world where we produce a lot of stuff, and so this is introduction of the topic. Second paragraph, you can start answering the question, why do you think this is happening? Well, because we consume a lot, etc., etc. We need the transport, the shipping is very important. And what can governments do to help reduce the amount of rubbish produced? So the second question, imperatively, you need to answer these 2 questions. Okay, it's pretty clear here. And this is your homework. So if you can send it, or we can also go through that during the course. Yeah, I feel cheap with everything I'm doing right now because I'm in a hurry. You're in a hurry, and I feel like it's really not my cup of tea. So usually, I go through different things. I was planning on going through different books and giving different tips and everything. But yeah, but anyway, I'm trying my best here. Eli, I'll see you in a few hours, okay? And you have a beautiful day, and I'll try my best to help you, okay? That's my job. So talk to you soon. Au revoir. À bientôt.